You know that feeling when you wake up on a Monday, bleary-eyed and barely functional, only to realize you're not in your bed but instead plummeting towards an alien planet at breakneck speed? Yeah, me neither, until today. I jolted awake, strapped into my seat in what remained of the escape pod, staring out at the rapidly approaching surface of an unknown world. My heart raced, and I mentally kicked myself for skipping all those emergency landing drills. "Warning, impact imminent," the pod's AI droned. No kidding. I braced myself as the pod smashed into the ground with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. When the world stopped spinning, I unclipped my harness and staggered out. The landscape was a nightmare mix of jagged rocks and twisted trees that seemed to leer at me. Great. Stranded on a planet that looked like a Tim Burton fever dream. I scanned my surroundings. No signs of intelligent life, just my luck. My comms were dead, so there was no calling for a tow truck. Time to play explorer, I guess. I took stock of my supplies, a survival knife, a few rations, and a water purifier. Not much, but better than nothing. The planet's atmosphere was breathable, which was a small mercy. The sky had an eerie greenish tint, and the sun, if you could call it that, was a faint, sickly yellow. The ground was covered in a thick, spongy moss that squished unpleasantly underfoot. Alien insects buzzed around, their iridescent wings catching the dim light. I swatted at them, hoping none were venomous. After trudging through the hostile terrain for what felt like hours, I heard rustling behind me. I spun around, my makeshift spear, a sturdy branch I had sharpened with a rock, at the ready. Out stepped the ugliest, most terrifying creature I'd ever seen. Picture a velociraptor, but with twice the teeth and none of the charm. "Hey there, big guy," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Fancy a snack?" It lunged at me and I barely managed to dodge, jabbing it with my spear. The thing screeched in pain and backed off. I wasn't about to let it regroup. I charged, channeling every action hero I'd ever seen, and landed a solid hit on its side. It collapsed, wheezing. I stood over it, panting and covered in sweat. "Not today, Dino Dork," I muttered, poking it to make sure it was down for good. My first alien kill. I'd have preferred a peaceful first contact, but you play the hand you're dealt. With my heart still pounding, I took a moment to catch my breath. The creature's blood was a dark, viscous green, and it had an almost reptilian texture to its skin. I hoped the rest of the planet's fauna wasn't as hostile. I made a mental note to find a safer place to rest. Climbing a nearby rocky outcrop, I found a small cave. It wasn't much, but it would provide some shelter. I gathered some of the spongy moss for bedding and made a small fire using my survival knife and some dry twigs. The fire's warmth was a comfort in the alien night, which was already growing chilly. With my adrenaline still pumping, I continued my trek. A few hours later, I stumbled upon what looked like a primitive campsite. There was a fire pit and some alien-looking tools scattered around. Hope surged in my chest. Maybe I wasn't alone after all. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was humanoid, but with blue skin and glowing eyes. Great. More surprises. "Who are you?" the alien asked in surprisingly fluent English. I blinked. "I'm Alex. My ship crashed here, and you?" "I'm TV. You're lucky I found you. This planet is not kind to strangers." I chuckled. "Yeah, I noticed." TV looked me up and down. "You killed a scarab beast? Impressive for a human." "I had a good teacher," I lied. No need to admit I'd winged it. TV nodded, seemingly satisfied. "Come, you can rest at my camp." Finally, a break. Maybe this alien would know how to get me off this rock. TV's camp was modest, but well-equipped. He had a shelter made of woven reeds and leaves, and a small garden where he cultivated strange, luminescent plants. I couldn't help but be impressed by his resourcefulness. As we sat by the fire, TV offered me a piece of alien fruit. "Eat. It's safe." I took a cautious bite. It was surprisingly sweet, with a texture like a cross between an apple and a kiwi. "Not bad," I said, savoring the taste. TV grinned. "You learn quickly, human. Most would have died by now." "Thanks for the vote of confidence," I replied, rolling my eyes. "So, what's your story, TV? How did you end up here?" TV's expression darkened. "I was exiled. My people, the Varlics, did not approve of my methods." "Methods?" I raised an eyebrow. "I prefer peace to war. They saw it as weakness." TV shrugged. "So, here I am." Well, lucky for me, I said, raising my fruit in a mock toast. Two unlikely allies. TV chuckled and clinked his own fruit against mine. To survival. One evening, as we sat around the fire, TV stiffened. We have company, he muttered, grabbing his weapon, a sort of futuristic bow and arrow. A group of aliens similar to TV but with red markings on their skin emerged from the darkness. They didn't look friendly. TV, the leader sneered. I see you've taken in a stray. TV stood his ground. Leave, Crash. He's under my protection. Crash laughed, a harsh, grating sound. You always were a fool, TV. Hand him over and we might let you live. I stepped forward, heart pounding. Back off, Crash. I'm not going anywhere. The leader's eyes narrowed. Bold words for a dead man. TV and I readied our weapons. It was going to be a long night. Crash's tribe was larger and better armed. They wielded crude but effective weapons, spears, clubs, and slingshots. As they advanced, I felt a surge of fear. This was not going to be an easy fight. Stick close, TV whispered. We'll have a better chance if we fight together. I nodded, gripping my spear tightly. The first wave of attackers lunged at us, and we met them head-on. It was chaos, screams, the clash of weapons, and the smell of blood. I fought with everything I had, jabbing and slashing at the aliens who came too close. Despite our efforts, we were outnumbered. I took a blow to the head and stumbled, barely staying on my feet. TV was faring better, his experience and skill evident in his fluid movements. But even he was struggling against the sheer number of attackers. In the midst of the chaos, I spotted Crash, directing his warriors with a sadistic grin. Rage filled me, and I charged at him, determined to end this once and for all. The fight was brutal. Crash's tribe attacked with a ferocity that took my breath away. I swung my spear, fending off attackers, while TV expertly picked them off with his bow. Despite our best efforts, we were outnumbered. A particularly nasty alien lunged at me, claws outstretched. I barely managed to dodge, but it clipped my side, sending a sharp pain through my body. I gritted my teeth and retaliated, driving my spear through its chest. TV was holding his own, but I could see he was tiring. We needed a plan, and fast. TV, I shouted, trying to be heard over the chaos. We need to retreat. He nodded, firing one last arrow before grabbing my arm and pulling me away. We ran through the forest, dodging trees and leaping over obstacles with Crash's tribe hot on our heels. Our retreat was frantic. Branches slapped against my face, and the ground was uneven, making every step a challenge. I could hear the shouts of our pursuers growing fainter, but I knew they wouldn't give up easily. Finally, we burst into a clearing and stumbled to a halt, panting. TV looked around, eyes narrowed. We need to find higher ground. They won't stop until they have us. I nodded, still catching my breath. Lead the way. We climbed a steep hill, using roots and rocks for support. At the top, we found a rocky outcrop that provided a good vantage point. We could see Crash's tribe below, searching for us. TV set up a few traps at the entrance to our hideout just in case. This should buy us some time, he said, adjusting his bow. I nodded, trying to stay positive. We can't keep running forever. We need a plan. TV agreed. Tomorrow we strike back. We'll hit them when they least expect it. Just when I thought we were done for, a group of new aliens appeared, blocking our path. These were different, taller, with sleek armor and advanced weapons. They looked like they meant business. Hold! Their leader commanded. What is going on here? TV quickly explained the situation. The leader, a stern-looking alien with silver markings, turned to Crash's tribe. You will leave now, or face the consequences. Crash hesitated, glaring at us. This isn't over, TV. With that, his tribe retreated into the forest. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. The leader of the newcomers turned to us. I am Commander Rylak. You're lucky we were patrolling this area. Thank you, I said, still catching my breath. We owe you one. Rylak nodded. We have a base nearby. You'll be safe there. TV and I exchanged a glance. Safety sounded good right about now. Rylak's soldiers escorted us to their base, which was a marvel of alien engineering. The buildings were sleek and angular, made of a material that shimmered in the light. The base was surrounded by a high fence, and there were guards stationed at every entrance. We were taken to a medical bay where a team of medics treated our wounds. I was given a clean bill of health, aside from a few bruises and a nasty gash on my side. TV was in better shape, but he had a few cuts and scrapes as well. "Rest here," Rylak said. "You're safe now." The base was a marvel of alien engineering. Sleek structures, advanced tech, and a sense of order that was a stark contrast to the chaos we'd just escaped. Rylak introduced us to his team, who seemed genuinely curious about me. I guess humans were a rare sight around here. "We have been monitoring Crash's activities," Rylak explained. "He's a rogue leader, dangerous and unpredictable." "Tell me about it," I muttered, wincing as a medic tended to my wound. "You're lucky to have survived this long," Rylak continued, "but we can help you get off this planet." My heart leaped. "Really? How?" "We have a ship," he said. "It's not much, but it can get you to the nearest space station." I couldn't believe my luck. After days of uncertainty, there was finally a way out. TV and I were given quarters in the base, and we spent the next few days recuperating and preparing for the journey. The base was a hive of activity, with soldiers training, engineers working on equipment, and scientists conducting experiments. I took the opportunity to learn more about the Varlics and their culture. They were a warrior race, but they also valued knowledge and innovation. Rylak explained that they were part of an alliance of planets, working together to maintain peace and security in the galaxy. "Why did you help us?" I asked one evening as we sat in the mess hall. Rylak shrugged. "We believe in helping those in need, and Crash is a threat to everyone, not just you." I nodded, grateful for their assistance. "Thank you. I don't know how we would have survived without you." Rylak smiled. "You're stronger than you think, Alex. You've already proven that." Over the next few days, we prepared for departure. The base was a flurry of activity, and I tried to stay out of the way while absorbing as much as I could about this alien culture. TV and I had grown closer, bonding over shared experiences and mutual respect. He even smiled occasionally, which was a rare sight. "You're not bad for a human," he said one evening, handing me a strange but surprisingly tasty alien beverage. "High praise," I replied, clinking my cup against his. "Couldn't have survived without you." TV shrugged. "You adapt quickly. You'd make a good ally." I smiled, feeling a strange sense of pride. Likewise. As the ship was prepped for launch, I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. Leaving meant safety, but it also meant saying goodbye to a strange but fascinating world. Rylak and his team helped us load supplies onto the ship. It was a small, sleek vessel, designed for speed and agility. The interior was cramped, but it had all the essentials: a navigation system, life support, and a small cargo hold. TV and I settled into the cockpit, with Rylak joining us for a final briefing. "The journey to the space station will take a few days," he said. "Stay on course, and you should be fine." "Thank you, Rylak," I said, shaking his hand, "for everything." He nodded. "Safe travels, Alex, and may the stars guide you." With that, we fired up the engines and lifted off. As the base receded into the distance, I couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia. This planet had been a nightmare, but it had also been an adventure, and I wasn't ready to forget it just yet. Just when I thought we were home free, alarms blared throughout the base. Crash's tribe had launched a full-scale attack. "Unbelievable," I muttered, grabbing my spear. "These guys just don't quit." TV and I rushed to the front lines, joining the base's defense. It was chaos, lasers, explosions, and the guttural roars of aliens in battle. I fought with everything I had, side by side with TV and Rylak's troops. The tide of battle shifted back and forth, but slowly we gained the upper hand. In the midst of the fight, I spotted Crash, leading the charge. With a roar, I charged at him, spear ready. Crash met my attack with a sneer. "You think you can defeat me, human?" "Watch me," I growled, swinging my spear with all my strength. Our weapons clashed, and we danced a deadly dance. Crash was strong, but I had determination and a bit of luck on my side. With a final desperate lunge, I drove my spear through Crash's chest. He staggered back, eyes wide with shock, before collapsing. The battlefield fell silent. Crash's tribe, seeing their leader defeated, retreated into the night. The aftermath of the battle was a blur. Wounded soldiers were tended to, and the base was secured. Rylak's team worked tirelessly to repair the damage and ensure that Crash's tribe wouldn't return. As the sun rose, casting a warm glow over the base, I felt a sense of relief. We had won. We had survived. With the battle won, the base was secured. The next morning, Rylak's team finished preparing the ship. It was time to leave. TV and I stood by the ship, exchanging a nod of mutual respect. "Take care, human," he said. "May your journey be safe." "You too, TV," I replied. "Thanks for everything." Rylak approached, offering a hand. "You've earned our respect, Alex. Safe travels." I shook his hand, feeling a surge of gratitude. "Thank you. For everything." As the ship lifted off, I looked out the window, watching the planet recede into the distance. It had been a wild ride, full of danger and unexpected allies, but I had survived. And as the stars beckoned, I couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement for whatever adventure lay ahead. The journey to the space station was uneventful, which was a welcome change. TV and I spent the time reminiscing about our time on the planet and planning our next steps. We were both eager to return to our respective homes, but we also knew that this experience had changed us. Our bond, forged in the crucible of survival, would endure. As we approached the space station, I felt a mix of relief and sadness. Relief that the ordeal was over, and sadness at leaving a world that had tested me in ways I never imagined. The docking procedures completed, and the hatch opened with a hiss. TV and I stood at the threshold, taking one last look at the ship that had brought us to safety. "Well, this is it," I said, extending my hand. "Goodbye, TV. Until we meet again." TV clasped my hand firmly. "Until we meet again, Alex. Farewell, my friend." With that, we stepped onto the space station, ready to face whatever the galaxy had in store for us. The adventure was far from over, but we were prepared. After all, we had already survived the ultimate intergalactic nightmare.